What is up, guys? SDFC Bros coming back at you with another match review. And Carlos, it is a sunny day in San Diego, but we're feeling a little gray in this one following that loss versus Colorado Rapids. How are you feeling in this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's such a beautiful day out in San Diego, but kind of sad to enjoy such a beautiful day today because of that loss, man.
Yeah, I hear it. So we're here to talk about the game, but guys, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and check us out on TikTok. We are now on TikTok. We're posting some exclusive content there that we wouldn't otherwise put on Instagram. So if you want to check us out on there, see what we're doing, go check us out on SDFC Bros on TikTok. So Carlos, I just want to get this over with. Let's, get rid of this loss out of the way. So let's just get right into it. So let's talk about kind of pre-game vibes, while we were there. So we were at AleSmith Brewing Company. Shout out to them. They're giving out these cups. Every kind of like away game, they're like giving out these cups. We're collecting all these cups like they're like infinity stones.
Trying to get as much as we can. We've got 2 so far.
So so far we got 2 from Hasta Mañana and then from AleSmith. So big up to them for being the cups. But surprisingly, there was a lot more people that turned up than I thought there would, just because it was kind of out of the way for us that were kind of more closer to San Diego. But what were your kind of thoughts, like kind of pregame vibes and kind of just overall just being there?
No, yeah, exactly like you going into it. I think we all kind of were like, oh, it might not be as packed or anything like that. For people who don't know, like San Diego's like really to the set, like where the beach area is and where it was more inland, Mira Mesa area. Not a lot is going on down there. I mean, there's great food places and everything, but it was just a little more outside, and I didn't think that there was going to be a lot of people. And also there was a Padre game going on at the exact same time. So we were just kind of like, oh, we'll see how it is, but the turnout was insane. It looked like the whole place was pretty much packed. Again, DJ Beto was putting on the show for us the whole time too. So it was good vibes. There was food trucks, good beers. Everybody seemed to be friendly and just ready to start the game, And everybody, we did a whole pre-match, analysis, like what people were feeling, and everybody was throwing up big numbers, 3-0, 2-0, really optimistic at going against Colorado. Fortunately, it did not go that way, but that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, so let's get into the lineup. So it's the exact same lineup that we saw from last week, where we played. So getting kind of into the start of the match, we would start slow in this one. And I know, San Diego FC, we're very patient in our build-up play. We like to, possess the ball and everything like that. But it just felt like we couldn't really get into second gear in this one. And we would just miss loads of chances. And the one that kind of comes first to mind in this first half was the one with Valakari missing that shot where he was fairly close, and I think we were all kind of on the edge of our seat to be like, oh, he's gonna bag this, 1-0, everything like that, but he misses. Talking about kind of just wasted opportunities, I know this was kind of like a talking point in the earlier, spots of the season where, we went 0-0 to St. Louis, and then we went to Austin and everything like that, where we really couldn't put away these chances. So is it kind of like, a 1 step forward, 2 steps back with this whole kind of missed opportunities, because it's like we had more than enough chances to put us in the lead for this game, not only just in the first half, but in the second half as well.
Multiple.
What'd you think?
Yeah, no, well, big ups to the Colorado's keeper, because he was making some saves as well.
Zach Steffen, former Manchester City player, so it's like he has that exposure at top level.
But honestly, you're right. I think he was just really slow to play in the beginning. I don't know. Something's got to change in our lineup. I don't know why, but it does feel like, and I can't really put it in there. I can't analyze it as much. It just feels different. And I don't know if it's having Chucky or Valakari up top, but we are just like really slow, and we're not as attacking as much as I felt like we were in these big games. I don't know if it just feels like that I don't know if we're in mid-season yet, but like that hump that we still kind of have to go over, and we were just like, or even just the feeling that we've been winning so much, so this team doesn't taking it serious or not. But I don't know, it just seems a little different with this new formation that we've had since Chucky's been added and losing Vartson. So it's just it's a little difficult to watch this team.
Yeah, I know, in the previous episode, in the previous match review that we did, you kind of expressed your thoughts and concerns about Chucky kind of slotting back into this team, and I was saying, oh, we just got to give it time and everything like that. And to that extent, like I still do kind of, follow that principle to the point where it's like we still have to figure out how to play with Chucky again, right? Because we only got a solid one game versus Galaxy where, we had, Chucky, in from minute 1 to 70 or whatever it was. And then he gets injured versus St. Louis. So now we're trying to figure out how to kind of reincorporate, Chucky back into this team. Whereas it's like before, we kind of had, Mayan in a couple games, and then we had, I think, Tomas Angal at left wing. So it's like, right. I think it's just a matter of Mikey Varas and the coaching staff kind of just figuring out how to get the best out of this team properly week in and week out, because we were so used to seeing this team having so many changes up top specifically, right? Like how I mentioned with Tomas Angal up front, Mayan, and now we have Valakari up top, with Noe Vartan and everything like that. And I know I think this was a big talking point for a lot of fans to be like, oh, what does Ingvartsen bring to the table, da-da-da. Well, now you're seeing it
I think
firsthand,
so, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he just brings so much of that into this game where we didn't have it in this one, and even in the previous couple games, right? Where we were kind of struggling to kind of have that presence up top, or someone to kind of just drag defenders and everything like that. And I know we were kind of going about how Chucky does that, but now we're kind of seeing that importance of that Ingvartsen has in that build-up phase.
And it looks like, and the only reason that I would have wanted to replace Ingvartsen is to get a quality striker that's going to be making those goals, something that might not be Ingvartsen's exact role. I mean, I'm sure if he's there, he's going to score those goals. We've seen it. But if we're replacing him with a Valakari who's supposed to be playing his role as well and not being that striker, it doesn't seem like it's to the level of what Ingvartsen was doing throughout those games.
Certainly. I think what Ingvartsen is very good at is, having with his back to goal, kind of playing, with everything, with the other teammates and everything like that. And that's what Valakari brings you as well.
Right.
I don't know if that was the right approach in this game, because we saw our new signing, Milan Iloski, come into this game. And I think he's more of a striker that's going to make those runs in behind.
Exactly.
He's more of a mobile striker, which is something that I think maybe we probably needed in this game, because we saw Colorado not play super defensive, but they kind of had like a mid block where that gives you enough space to make those runs in behind. So I think that's maybe something that, Mikey Varas and the coaching staff have to kind of look at, to be like, okay, in this approach in this game, maybe we need someone who's more mobile, right? Valakari doesn't really give you that, kind of mobility up front to kind of make those runs in behind.
And like we've talked, he's more of a center, like
certainly, center forward, kind of attacking mid.
Right. Not to the extent. And I think also I think Tomas Angal has that ability to do exactly what Milan is.
I agree with that.
But sometimes it doesn't feel like we play him enough or give him enough time to fit into that role. But I think if we threw Tomas Angal starting in this game against instead of Valakari, I think it would have been a different game, because Tomas Angal makes those runs and is able. And we saw when he came in, I mean, how many minutes was he on the field before he scored a goal?
He came in like in the 80th or something, 85th or something.
And
like that.
I think 5 minutes, 6 minutes later, he scores a goal. Mm-hmm. And it's not making that run, but it's just being that clinical. And I mean, he scored a goal that, like, another player probably would have taken a pass respectfully in that.
You're right.
And so it's just, I don't know if we are willing to, and I feel like Mikey Varas has a vision, and so he's just trying to replace Valakari in that vision, because he is a good substitution for Ingvartsen. But I think if Ingvartsen's going to be injured for a while, we need to switch out of that and maybe start playing with a solid striker who's going to be making, like you said, mobile, making those runs.
Certainly, so. I definitely agree with that 100%, because it's like we can't just always have Valakari there, where it's like, respectfully, this isn't a position that he's going to thrive in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Even though we've seen a very good goal output from Valakari. I mean, 3 goals, 2 assists this season in 7 games or something like that. That's sensational output, right? But when push comes to shove, right, when we need kind of to switch around tactics, right, I think we need to have a little bit more mobility up top. And then that begs the question, okay, do we bring in a DP who's a striker and everything like that? Because Iloski is only on a loan, right? So it's like we're kind of, thinking about, who are we kind of going to bring in this summer if, a name kind of pops up, but never know. So I think that kind of good assessment on kind of like the striker situation, and that was something that, and this is just the last thing I'm gonna add to that. I think with this style of play, right, how you're saying like we pass a lot in the final third and especially in the box, respectfully, like that is just our style of play. Like we just get
100%.
forward and we're just gonna try to pass as much to the open man to kind of get that shot off. And that's what we saw with the Tomas Angal goal, where we kind of, built up from the wings and we kind of like caved back into the box. And you saw Tomas Angal there and he put away his chance. So.
Right, no, and I agree with you. And I think a lot of the fans, I mean, what we're seeing, especially on the comments on the Instagram posts and everything, I think we're speaking for the fans as well, because I think we're all looking for another DP for a striker position. I think a lot of the fans on social media and outwards will tell you, like, we're just missing that striker. And I don't know, we'll go from there, seeing what can happen.
Maybe
still a long season.
Yeah, maybe we bring in FaZe Rug. FaZe Rug, DP player. I think he would take that.
I mean, he was scoring some good goals against Esteban. So I don't know. We might have to train him.
So maybe, I don't know, if the FaZe money isn't there, maybe San Diego FC money's there.
Right,
so
right,
who knows?
right.
But one of the, I think the big kind of events in this first half was that double save from CJ Dos Santos, right? There was that one ball that was cleared off the line from McNair, and then you forced 2 saves out of CJ Dos Santos. What did you kind of like think about him in this game? And I know, we'll get into the penalty situation right now where, CJ does commit that foul. To me, I think it's not a penalty, just 100%. To put it on the record. I just think that this is a very soft call, in my opinion, because you see the player, he gets the ball off, and they do get that shot off on goal, and then they bring it back for the penalty. What would you kind of think about it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just not a penalty. It wasn't severe enough to make that. Again, we're playing in Colorado. The ref, home bias. Except, honestly, the refs have not been nice to San Diego.
I haven't liked these refs.
They have not been nice to San Diego this year, or this season so far. But no, I just don't see where it was enough to call it PK. Right. I can see the point that it is maybe one. If we dive into the rule books exactly, but it's just
check VAR.
No, and it was just too soft. It was just too soft. The ref went on what VAR was telling him, didn't go check it on his own, and just believed it. I think it was just a soft call. But we can't put the rest of the game on blame on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was some best back. But to answer, I think CJ Dos Santos played a great game. There's nothing at all that I can blame him, because he was making save after save after save like that, and throughout the game, like, they were just unlucky from our defense. And CJ didn't have an armor in front of him, a wall to stop him. CJ did what he could, and I can't blame him. I think honestly he was one of our better players this whole game.
Certainly, yeah, I do agree with that assessment. Yeah, so kind of going into the second half, we saw an SDFC team come out right off the rip and score 4 minutes in, right? We saw that Luca Della Torre goal, top bins. 100%. He saw that Declan Rice goal, and he's like, let me do one better.
Yeah.
So 2 goals for Della Torre this season. I know, you were kind of having, during the game, we were kind of having like this conversation about Della Torre and how he kind of fits into this team and everything like that. For me, I feel like what Della Torre does give you is those shots on goal from the midfield. Right, because yes, Zverskov and Godoy did score literally last game, right? But it wasn't
not gonna happen all the time.
It wasn't the type of goal that Della Torre is gonna give you, right? So it's like, my whole thing is, it's like Della Torre in those kind of instances, in that area of the pitch, right? Kind of not quite outside the box, but kind of just inside. That's where he's gonna be most lethal to kind of give you goals, right? We saw it versus Austin, damn near in the same place, right? Damn near in the same place we saw versus Austin, and in this one we saw him score a very similar goal. So,
and honestly, maybe he's just warming up a little bit, because I mean, again, it's really hard. Like, we're gonna be upset, and we're gonna be talking a lot about what needs to be happening. But at the end of the day, again, this is a first season team who have been playing with each other for now 8 games. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. We don't know what's going on in that locker room as much as we might like. Who knows? And maybe Della Torre's warming up as much too. Everybody's got to warm up.
Yeah, I agree. And I know, during the game we were talking with your cousin Austin about, kind of different profiles of midfielders that we would want to see. And for me, not this name specifically, but a Barella type midfielder in this game, right? Just a solid box-to-box workhorse who's going to go up and down the pitch 90 minutes. I feel like that is something that we kind of needed, because going into that second goal that we conceded, it was a poor lapse of concentration,
100%.
Right? Where we had to have numbers come back, but we just didn't have that. And, I don't want to put any players on blast here, but I feel like when Negri did come out, we saw Diop come in. Diop offers you something that is very unique, to the point where he's a very offensive fullback, right? He kind of gives me like Bambino vibes a little bit. But I think on the defensive end, I think this is something that he kind of needs to improve on, to really, kind of kick it into gear and be like, shit, I need to get back into the box, because it was the result of him not being in that position. We conceded the goal, which is unfortunate. So what did you kind of think about like the midfield in this game? Do you think maybe we needed to kind of switch it around a little bit, or do you think this is kind of still the core 3 midfield we need to run with going forward?
I liked our midfield. I think that we played a solid thing. I think what was hard is just the distribution to Chucky, Valakari, and Dreyer, and then what happened after that.
Sure.
I think the midfield played that role that they needed to, that ground that they could, but then it was what's happening after they passed that ball.
Certainly.
Why is it not going anywhere? Why is something not happening in that final third? And again, defensively, like we just played back, and again, like I don't want to say anything because I think we did have a poor performance, but truly, I see a different San Diego in this game, and I think because of I know you won't say, but there was an altitude, and you know it's hard. It's hard. You're 5,200 feet in the like above sea level at this point.
I hear. For me, that's just a load of rubbish. Like for me, it's like you're a professional footballer. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of train yourself to kind of put yourselves in these sorts of situations.
Right. But I just think that could have made us just a little bit more sluggish, and for me it's so rare that we see San Diego be this sluggish and so like not consistent that the only causation doesn't cause correlation, right? But the only thing is just like it's just so abnormal of them, and I think even like we were talking about before this, like seeing Mikey Varas like come out and talk, it was just like post match, it was even him just kind of like I guess like what all of us were feeling, like what is going on here is just not normal. And again, it's the highest MLS stadium. I don't know. I feel like anybody putting somebody in a different situation like that, you're not gonna have the same performance. So who knows?
Yeah. And I think after that goal, we saw loads of changes. We switched the formation to like either like a 4-4-2 or like a 4-2-4 to the point where we were so offensive after that, and we saw more of an offensive initiative. We saw Maitin come in, we saw Iloski come in, and we saw Willie come in. And when I see Willie come in, again, it's like same thing with, I honestly, I really think we're really missing Bambino, truly, because it's like what he kind of gives you is that pace going up and down. And kind of, and we were having a conversation last night about passion and everything like this. And because Bambino, I think, is just such a young player to the point where it's like he kind of needs to prove a point. That's why he's willing to kind of make that more defensive approach to kind of get back into 100%. The box. But we saw definitely a lot more of an offensive initiative, like I said, with Maitin, Iloski, and Willie coming in. But I think by the time we scored the second goal, I think it was just too little, too late to come back. So it's like, kind of, what was your kind of assessment when we did put on, kind of like our offensive players to kind of go in and kind of maybe grab a result in this game?
Yeah, well, again, like when we switched into that more offensive, and we had 4 strikers at a certain point, or the towards the end of the game, like in San Diego or in another like in another place, another position, San Diego is coming off the ripper with those like going. But again, against Colorado, it was like scared, sluggishness, not moving. We didn't start fully attacking until the 80th minute. After having 4 strikers for 10 minutes already, there was nothing. And not until those last 10 minutes, not until that 90th minute where there's 6 minutes left, did we really see our full attack, full potential like we had been seeing like previous games where they're doing that at the 20 more minutes left in the game, like the 70th minute. And this is the first time that I had seen them so sluggish and so off the run. And it's like, when I saw those 4 strikers in, I was like, okay, I see Mikey Vada's vision. Like, we're going to go do that, and that's what we are. When you put San Diego in those positions, that's what we do. And Tomas Angal did it, and then it was like, I thought that we were going to, again, see the team just jump in. And again, it was just so slow off the back, and it was just aggravating to see because it was just like these things should have happened way quicker. Even the substitutions, I believe, and they weren't happening. It was something that was happening so out of our control. It felt really weird, and I don't know. Is this our downfall? Who knows?
Yeah, no, I think there was a lot of times in this game where on the touchline we saw Mikey Varas go forward. But I think it's like with this style of play, it's like I feel like it's kind of just indoctrinated in this player's mind where it's like we can't play unless the other team presses us. And that's kind of like my whole gripe with this Right to Dream style. However, I've grown to appreciate it at times when it works, when it's to the point where that is something that is very difficult to play against, right? However, when you have a Colorado team respectfully up 3-1, they're not going to press you. So
No,
it's
not
like
anymore.
When I think at that moment when we did go down 3-1, this was the time to make those offensive changes to really, put all of our guns forward.
Right.
And I feel like it was just too little too late at that time before we can actually see somewhat of a spark. And even when, we saw Mighton a couple of times kind of beat his man off of the dribble, and I know we were kind of talking about him in the last video, what he kind of brings to the table. I think what we saw was that, I think it was more of a 4-2-4 because we saw Zverskov and Valakari in the midfield, and they were kind of just dictating that area of the pitch. But for me, it's like we played a lot more better, right? When Colorado, because they were just sitting back. Right. So they were sitting back, and I feel like that is the time where they go 3-1 up. They recognize in that game, okay, we can kind of take our foot off the gas and see kind of how it goes.
Right.
That was the moment where we have to change the formation and make those substitutions. So I don't think that we got the tactics right in this game. I feel like, I think it was just a very confusing game for all of us going forward. So
and it was definitely something that I just normally we don't see from this team, and it's just, I don't know. I think like exactly what you said. You know what? There's nothing to lose at this point. Obviously we don't want to lose 5-0, and I don't think we would have. But at that point, it's like my old hurdle coach said, just turn your brain off and just go stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Like you said, the right to dream works, and we have that mentality. But in those games, it really comes down to turn your brain off, believe in your team, believe in everything, and go stupid. You know what I'm saying? Go stupid and go score. Do what you can, and it just didn't feel like it was happening. And we've seen an SDFC, the San Diego team, do that before, but it's just didn't happen today. And again, elevation.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
No, but again, let's just before we end it, also in that last we're also talking about Dreyer missing quite a few chances, which should have not at all happened. There was 2 to 3 shots that were right there, and I don't know what's going on there. He should be making those.
Yeah. Post-match, I know Mikey Vadas was saying, we kind of needed that hunger and kind of that bite going into those chances where, I'd say probably 8 out of 10 times Dreyer makes those chances. But I think this was just your classic case of, and this is probably one of the most famous mottos in the sport.
Right.
That is just football.
Right.
You're going to miss chances like this, and you're going to, unfortunately have results like this where it just doesn't go your way. The ball just does not go in the back of the net. And respectfully, I think Stefan made a lot of big saves to kind of keep Colorado in this game.
Of course. But
I think, though, for the quality of player that Dreyer is, got to be putting those chances away.
We got to, and especially on a 3-0, 3-1, it just got to happen.
That changes the course of the game, changes the momentum and everything like that. And I mean, I was really hoping after that De La Torre goal, we would really kind of see a change in momentum, because I think we were seeing that. But then again, it's just those lapses of judgment that really costed us this game.
And I think honestly, what sets us apart from the Austin FC game is. We were playing with our B team, against that, but we didn't lose really crazily, or it felt like we had that, which I would say that passion to win and still play. This one just felt like, what is going on, guys? And it just felt like just lost and not just something separate from that. And that's why I'm more disappointed in this loss, because it's just like, we know that we should have won this game. Truly, or at least ended up tying it, because we had the ability to, but just did not seem like the players were all in there. And I don't know what it is, but if we see this next game and the next game and this game, San Diego doesn't come out winning this league, or doesn't come out in a really good position. I think what really drove us, and what I believe to be winning all these games, is because we do have a good team, but I think it's the passion behind that and the players that are willing to perform at their best abilities. And we just didn't see it this game.
Certainly. And just to kind of close it off, I think for me, it's like, I think we beat ourselves in this game.
100%.
I think it was more so kind of just silly, moments out the back and everything like that. And I know we credited this team defensively last game versus Seattle. This game, it was just the complete opposite, right? Just zero organization, zero kind of communication, just out the back, just simple basics of defending, just the simple fundamentals of defending in general. And I think, we did kind of beat ourselves in this game, and I think, we saw that. So with that being said, let's go match rating. So I'll let you go first.
3.
3 out of 10?
3 out of 10. No, I think it's simple. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's almost like it's a paint to color, you can look at it and you know exactly what it is. It's just, we did not come and play to our ability. There was not a lot of passion. There wasn't enough care. just a lot of mistakes, just not only from the player side, but again, the coaching side. It was just not the best game we've ever played. I think it's probably our worst game that we've ever played.
Certainly.
And I just, this cannot be something that is taken lightly. It's not something that the players can sit there and be like, oh, okay, like it's just messed up. It's just, if they are coming out to these games going to be playing like that, it's over, because it was terrible, horrendous.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna say a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think for me, the only positive takeaway I can see from this game is right out the gate in the second half, right? We score 4 minutes. And I think that is just kind of a testament to what this team can do, right? When we're all like, all right, pedal to the metal, guns blazing, this is what we can produce in the final third. And I mean, brilliant goal from De La Torre.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good because we see a team that's losing and still come out and still have that anger to still fight, but then again it just gets lost.
That lapse of concentration in the final third. And I mean, that second goal that we conceded just pissed me off, just how silly it was, where it was just like a bunch of like just nonsense in the box, and they kind of just poke it past.
No, and you're right. And I think also there was just a lot of nonsense going on through the whole game. But again, like you said, like that is football. You know what I'm saying? We get a stupid PK, they score a stupid goal, and really their third goal was probably the only one, and that was just our lack of defense. And it's just like, for me, what I'm scared about is just it just goes and continues on to the next game. But if it's just a one-time thing, I get it. Whatever, we have to lose, we have to play. We can't be on our A game all the time, but and it's a long season, so.
Right, yeah, and kind of just, I guess, to make things a bit lighter, right? You look at the table, right? Oh, you know, shitty loss, whatever. We're still 4th place, right?
4th? I thought we're 3rd.
You're right.
Yeah,
we're still third, you know, so, you know, even better, right? So it's like, even though how bad of a loss this was, you look at the table, we're still 3rd place.
Right.
So it's like we're still in that position in the driving seat where we can really, you know, kind of dictate these sorts of games. However, next week, it's a very tough game. Charlotte in 1st place in the East. We are away for this game. And guess what? They have a perfect record at home this season. So I think that's going to be something that's really interesting. You have the likes of Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace, who came this season to Charlotte. And you also have a Gyamyang, not Aubameyang, a Gyamyang. I think that's how I pronounce it.
Second brother
I'm probably
or something, right?
Yeah, some cousin or something like that. But I'm probably butchering that name. But these are the ones that you kind of have to watch out for, to the point where I think this is a team that's really going to test us defensively, right? If, you know, we struggled against Colorado, kind of just conceding stupid little goals like this. This is going to be a proper team where they play a low block, which is our kryptonite, right? So this is going to be a very tough game, and they're going to hit us on the counterattack. So I'm very concerned about the approach in this game, whether or not we go with a Willie at right back over a Lawfulsend, or a Negri, and Bambino's still out, so that's someone that we can rule out. Does Diop kind of slot into this team? You never know. Does an Andres Reyes come back into the team? I don't know. Quite frankly, this is a team that I'm very concerned about, and a game that I'm really worried about. So kind of just going off of kind of what I was saying, what's your kind of thoughts going into it?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think going into this next game, it's going to be really like on Mikey as a coach, to show us what it's all about. We've had an ability to win games and everything like that, but it's going to be the first time that we're going to have to see like Mikey's coaching mind for the first time, and what he's going to be able to bring, because you're coming from a team who just lost terribly, probably the worst performance you have. How is he going to motivate them to play an even harder team than Colorado away again? And then what is he going to do tactically that's going to change everything? And like I'm sure everybody's sitting at home right now or ready to come in on practice Monday with the lowest of feelings. And we have had like you know, when we were going against LAFC or this and that, we have had like tremendous like excitement, like something's gonna happen. We have passion, this and that, and then like this time we're really low. I think the team, the fans we're all low, and it's really gonna come down to Mikey to say, how am I gonna get this team to be at that level again and not take that loss as, you know, bring it in going forward. And we're playing a really hard team.
Yeah, certainly. I think kind of the main things is like, what's the approach for this game? Do we kind of play a little bit more conservative defensively, or do we kind of just go all out blazing, even though they're a low block team? how do we combat that, right? Because we saw it versus Austin, we couldn't even break a damn lock in this game.
But again, our B team, you know what I'm saying?
Sure, it was our B team, impressive shot. However, it's like my whole thing is it's like regardless of who's on the pitch, you have to perform at a top level. It doesn't matter if you're playing against men like Messi or, you know, whoever, Inter Miami, Charlotte, Houston, last place Galaxy, doesn't matter, right? So it's like for me, it's like, what is the approach in this game? Do we kind of switch around the midfield a little bit? Do we kind of go with a more like physical or like athletic midfield to kind of make that game last a full 90 minutes, right? Where we have legs throughout the whole match. So I don't know. Personally, I don't think so. I think we're going to still stick with, I think literally the same exact lineup is going to happen versus Charlotte, to be honest, because I just don't see what other options we can go with going forward. To be
but yeah, it's just not with that lineup and where we're coming from. I'm just not very confident in that ability. But again, like
let's go to score predictions. What do you think for this game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really tough one. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we win or lose, and I don't think we tie. I don't know.
You don't think we win, lose, or tie?
No, no. Like I can't sit here and think like, you know, it's just gonna be such a random game, and it's just a really toss-up. So my score prediction is just gonna be the worst one. 1-0 Charlotte. Charlotte, yeah.
Okay.
1-0 loss.
I'm gonna be a little bit more optimistic. I'm gonna say a draw. I'm gonna say a 1-1 draw. I think, you know, regardless of the opponent and who's kind of in front of us, I think it's important to kind of realize how we bounced back from that Austin loss, right? Where we came in and we beat LAFC 3-2, right? Regardless of, you know, we kind of lost concentration, but we controlled the game in the second half in that game versus LAFC. So for me, I'm kind of looking at that performance and being like, okay, we see that losses don't really take, you know, a toll on us, but it kind of just depends on how we react. And we were also at home for LAFC, and now we're halfway across the country for this game.
Well, I think what motivated us to go into LAFC is that we knew that was our B team, and so we had a loss of teams, you know, McVay, Godoy going out, and it was kind of like, oh, let's come back from what we just missed and let's build this up again. This time, it's the blame's on our stars, on everybody, and so I just don't know how that goes. It's a tough job that Mikey's in right now. It's a tough job that these players have. I know it might be even a tough job for Chucky right now, who might be, you know,
kind of just, you know, thinking about a couple of different, you know, emotions, to be honest. Because it's like you come back, right, and you come back in your first game from Seattle 3-0, and then your very next game you lose 3-1
and you see how good the team was a little bit without you, you know, and so you're getting it's going to be a mind game, and if Charlotte can exploit us in that way,
then we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. Or Mikey Varas unites us as a team and we take this loss. But again, just seeing Mikey Varas after that post-match interview, it was just like, I think he was, what all of us were, just shocked. Like something feels different.
Well, we know he does his homework.
Right.
We know he does his homework. We do. So that's, I think, kind of one of the positive takeaways. But guys, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. How do you guys think San Diego FC kind of played in this game? Do you think we deserved to lose? Do you think that we kind of gave Colorado the win? What do you guys think in the comment section below? We'd love to hear you guys in the comments and involved in everything like that. So Carlos, what do you got to say, man?
Yeah, the short and sweet. I think this is exactly what you said. I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. You know, we'll go back to that at the end of the day. There's a lot of fans out here in San Diego. You made fans drive all the way to Mira Mesa for these watch parties. I know there's a lot of fans watching. Chose to watch this over the Padre games.
Went to Colorado.
Yeah. I went to Colorado. We believe in this team. We believe in these players. We believe in Coach Mikey. It's just, you know, all we want, whether it's a win or loss, we want you to see that you put 100% effort and 100% passion into it. It was a little disappointing this time, and we'd like to see that come forward and continue to happen. I think you owe it to the fans. You owe it to all of us. That's it. Just play with full passion, and if you lose, at least I can feel like you did the very best to the very end. I appreciate the effort, and we just got to keep going and going forward. The fans are going to support you guys no matter what. They're going to keep going, and
100%.
Let's hope we take it to Charlotte and just show that there was a fluke and keep going.
Yep, very well said from Carlos. So guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok as well. We're doing exclusive content on TikTok that we're not posting on Instagram, so make sure you guys check us out at SDFC Bros. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.